They're separated by centuries. They never met on the battlefield. But each of us has asked this question while watching Hollywood blockbusters and reading history textbooks. Spartans versus Roman legions. Who wins? One side, the benchmark of fearlessness and valor, forged in Sparta's harsh hell. The other, a ruthless machine that conquered half the world. Today we won't just argue. We'll run a thought experiment grounded in hard historical facts. We'll find out whose military doctrine, whose weapons, and whose spirit would prevail in this hypothetical yet thrilling clash of titans. Get ready. It's going to be hot. To keep this from being empty talk, we'll break everything down. Our investigation will have 4 key rounds, like a real fight. Round 1, ideology and discipline, which is scarier, Spartan fanaticism or Roman systematization. We'll see how these warriors were made and what drove them in battle. Round 2, face to face. We'll compare weapons, armor, and the combat skills of one soldier against another. Who wins in a duel to the death? Round 3, the art of war. We'll pit 2 of antiquity's greatest tactics against each other. The impenetrable phalanx versus the flexible manipular legion. Here, it's not brute force that decides, but intellect. And the final, 4th round, the power of the system. In a long war, what matters more? The quality of elite fighters, or the quantity and versatility of a military machine? This is what would decide any protracted campaign. At the end, after putting all the facts together, we'll deliver the final verdict. Let's dive in. Let's start with fundamentals. The philosophy of war. Imagine 2 boys. One is in Sparta. At 7, he's taken from his family into a brutal survival school called the Agoge. From that moment, his world narrows to one thing: pain, hunger, cold, and cunning. He's taught to steal, but if he's caught, he's beaten not for theft, but for clumsiness. He's fed vile gruel and encouraged to fight for food. He sleeps on hard reeds he has to gather himself. His life has no price except one to die gloriously for Sparta. He can't plow a field, trade, or build, but he can kill and obey perfectly. He is a fanatic warrior, an ideal, unthinking cog in the massive mechanism of the phalanx. His motivation isn't wealth, but immortal glory. Death in battle is the highest honor. Retreat is eternal shame. Now to Rome. Here a boy grows up in a landowner's or artisan's family. He learns to read, to count, helps with the household. At 17 or 18, he can join the army, signing a contract for 25 years. Harsh training awaits him, but it's professional training, not total reprogramming. He's taught not only to fight in formation, but to dig, build roads, erect fortified camps and bridges. His motivation is a land grant, pay, and an honored place in society after service. He is a citizen soldier. His iron discipline comes not only from fear of punishment, but from a sense of personal responsibility and duty to the Republic. The Spartan was programmed for war from the cradle. It was his sole function and meaning. The Roman was the product of a more complex society that could wage war, build, and govern. This is the clash of a narrow specialist fanatic with a versatile, pragmatic professional. Now imagine these 2 meet on the field one-on-one. Let's stage a duel. Before us, the Spartan. His pride and main weapon is a large, heavy spear with a wooden shaft and bronze head, up to 2.5 meters long. His large round shield, the hoplon, made of wood and faced with bronze, is not just protection. It's his life and part of the formation. It covers him and the comrade to his left. On his body, a bronze cuirass, greaves, and a helmet that often covers the entire face, crested on top. Impressive? Absolutely. But there are serious caveats. Total armor weight could reach 30 kilos. Vision is limited by the closed helmet. and that same long spear, devastating in close formation, becomes nearly unfensible in tight, one-on-one melee. It's too unwieldy. On the other side, the Roman legionary. His trump card is versatility and thoughtful tactics. Right before contact, he throws his secret weapon. The pilum, a heavy javelin. Picture it. The pilum slams into the Spartan's wooden hoplon. Its long iron shank bends or breaks on impact. Now that huge shield can't be used properly. It carries a dead, wobbly weight. The Spartan faces a choice: lug a cumbersome burden, or, more likely, drop his main shield. At that moment, the legionary, covered by his rectangular curved scutum, draws his gladius, a short but incredibly effective sword, perfectly balanced for lightning thrusts to throat and abdomen in close quarters. His armor mail, or the segmented larica segmentata, is lighter and more mobile than a bronze cuirass, giving him greater freedom of movement. In a one-on-one duel, the Roman had every chance to win. His tactic is a clear algorithm. First disable and hinder the opponent with the pilum, then finish quickly and efficiently with the gladius. The Spartan was designed for fighting in a tight formation where his long spear was strength. In an individual duel, it became a weakness. But antiquity was the age of formations. Let's array their armies and see how they fought together. The Spartan phalanx, a living monolith, a colossal organism. A solid, locked wall of shields and several ranks of spears thrust forward, usually 8 to 12 ranks deep. It moves slowly to drumbeats and battle songs, toward the enemy like a giant steamroller, crushing everything in its path. Its strength lies in the absolute frontal blow and overwhelming moral and physical pressure. But here lies its Achilles heel. The phalanx is vulnerable on the flanks and on uneven, hilly terrain. Try to wheel this multi-ton, tightly packed mass when a disciplined, mobile enemy strikes its side. Nearly impossible. The Roman Manipular Legion. Not a monolith, but a complex, flexible mechanism of mobile blocks, maniples. They were arrayed in a checkerboard across 3 lines. While the first line, the hastati, fought, the second, the principes, stood ready, resting, and able at any moment to relieve tired comrades or intensify the push. This gave the legion remarkable endurance and breadth in prolonged combat. Key moment of the hypothetical battle. Imagine the phalanx crashing into the first line of maniples. The Romans, using their large scuta, take the blow compressed but unbroken. Meanwhile, other maniples, more mobile, begin to envelop the cumbersome phalanx from the flanks. The Spartans cannot pivot quickly. Their formation loses cohesion. Gaps appear. In this scrum, long spears become a cumbersome liability, while the legionaries' short swords begin their deadly work in the crush, where Spartans, with their long spears, simply cannot bring weapons to bear. Third takeaway. The phalanx is a steamroller that crushes anything directly ahead. The Legion is modern special forces, with a toolkit for multiple scenarios. The roller is powerful frontally. Go around it, and it becomes helpless. However, a single battle even lost doesn't make a war. What about a prolonged conflict between Sparta and Rome? Here, economy, demography, and logistics enter the ring. Sparta. Its fatal weakness: small numbers. Full Spartan citizens, those elite warriors we idealize, were tragically few. At its peak, only about 8 to 10,000. Feared across Greece, but few. The loss of even one army, as at Leuctra, was an irreplaceable catastrophe from which Sparta never recovered. It simply couldn't afford long wars of attrition. Its economy, resting on the labor of subjugated helots, was fragile. Rome. Its strength, exhaustlessness, and system. Rome could lose entire armies, as at Cannae, where over 50,000 died, and field new, equally trained ones the next year. Its system of recruitment, training, supply, and logistics had no equal in the ancient world. The Romans could wage full-scale wars on 3 fronts at once, build roads, siege engines, and maintain a professional army for years. Their human, economic, and technological resources were an order of magnitude greater. Final strategic conclusion: Sparta is an event army built for a single, decisive battle where it should shine and win. Rome is a process army built for endless war, for methodically wearing down and destroying any opponent. The Spartan is a masterpiece, one of a kind, and almost priceless, like a fine clockwork mechanism. The Roman legionary is a high-quality but standardized part from a giant assembly line, relatively easy to replace. So who wins our thought experiment? Let's be honest. In a single battle, in conditions ideal for Spartans on a narrow pass, in a defile where flanking is impossible, they had every chance to win. Their astonishing fighting spirit, power, and the phalanx's monolith could smash and overturn a legion. But 9 times out of 10, on any other terrain, on open plains, in hills, and especially in a protracted, multi-year war, the victory would undoubtedly go to Rome. Not because Romans were personally braver, stronger, or more enduring, but because they were incomparably smarter and more pragmatic as a system. They built a military machine that won not with brute force and a surge of passion, but with flexibility, adaptability, inexhaustible resources, and cold, calculating intellect. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'll gladly read everyone and argue or agree with you. Tell me which army you think is stronger and why. Perhaps you know historical facts that could overturn our verdict? Let's debate. To avoid missing the next historical battles, subscribe to the channel and be sure to hit the bell to get notified. In the next episode, we'll stage an even harsher and less obvious showdown. What would you like us to compare? We'll examine not only weapons and armor, but also codes of honor and battle fury, and we'll find out whose philosophy of war was more effective on a global scale. Thanks for being with us. Remember, history isn't a boring list of dates. It's a giant field for great thought experiments, where we can find answers to the most gripping questions. See you soon!